Paul, how you been, buddy? Hey, how's the babysitting going?
They're quiet. They're in front of the TV with a bunch of snacks.
Excellent, good. Yeah, a lot of sugar, so in about an hour and a half.
No,
Are, are
there's
the
their,
are the parents gone now? Have they left?
yeah, they went to Mexico City for a little vacation.
Oh, so man, you're doing. Is it just you, or is Diane there as well?
Diane's here too.
Oh, good. And so
Yeah,
you guys are wow. You have courage, man, to take on grandkids that are like two and a half, as I remember, right? Two and a half, and
yeah. I don't think the parents have a lot of trust in me alone. I think
that's
if it
why.
were just
That's why.
me.
That's why Diane's there, right?
Yesterday, I was taking Oliver. I was carrying him up the escalator the wrong way, trying to race the parents, and fell. Got up, fell a second time, and they're looking at each other like, "We're not leaving them with him."
I love it. That's my kind of grandparenting. Hey, so today let's talk about what kind of a photographer are you? Because I know we've talked in the past. I mean, are you a black and white photographer, color photographer, fine art? Oh, fine art photographer. So again, what kind of photographer are you? Because there's a bunch of different kinds.
This came up because I go into a photo club to speak from the perspective of a fine art photographer who's doing this to express themselves. And part of me keeps being reminded not everyone is like you, Cole. There are people there. I, I didn't leave you much of a gap to say anything. Some people are there just because they want to be a better vacation photographer or a better family photo photographer. And so here I find myself often railing against the rules, when in truth, the rules would be useful to a family photographer or a vacation photographer
Yeah.
who just want to have nicer pictures. So the question becomes, what kind of photographer are you, and what kind do you want to be? I find so many relegate themselves to a lower level because they don't think they have any creative ability. They'd like to be a creative photographer,
Yeah.
but don't think they have it in them.
Hmm. Interesting.
So, what kind of photographer are you, John?
Not very good. I saved you all the energy of having to say that, right? You know, I've never, so like our last episode, I've given a lot of thought to why, but what kind of photographer? Boy, that's,
Are you a fine art photographer?
yeah,
And
I don't know what,
what does that mean? We
yeah.
none of us know what that means, but
Yeah, I would hope that I'm more towards a fine. I have a hard time saying I'm a fine art photographer, and I know we've talked about that, and that's why. Chuck Kimmerly would say, "Why not? What? Who else is going to call you one?" That was what he said to me one time when having this discussion, and that's a valid point because my buddy Dan Sniffen was saying, "Who are you to say that you're a fine art photographer to anybody? Right?
so
Isn't that
somebody
for
else
somebody
needs.
else? Isn't that for somebody else to decide?" And
No, no.
Chuck
Well,
said,
first of
"No."
all, let's acknowledge that a fine art photographer has almost no meaning.
Yeah.
But and a lot of people will say, well, then why do you call yourself a fine art photographer? And I give the answer because at least people generally understand that I'm not a pet photographer, a wedding photographer, a portrait photographer, a high school senior portrait photographer.
Yeah.
They at least understand that I'm trying to create art.
And I think that's a great answer for that reason, right? So I would consider myself more of a fine art photographer, but I muddy the waters up a little bit because I like color.
Well,
Color.
I mean, in some circles, color is considered fine art, John, not these circles. And there's sports photography,
Yes.
there is adventure photography,
Yeah.
there's another one, travel photography. There's all kinds.
There really is. And so to muddy that up, see, that's why I pause. I mean, when I've led 5 groups to Cuba, that's great travel photography. But I would
Yeah.
say that my eye is trying to distill that travel photography down to hopefully something that's a little more artistic than just snapshots of the trip to Cuba, right? So I
Well,
still
those
think,
pictures of those dancers were tremendously artistic.
Yeah, thank you. And so that's what so while I'm doing travel, I'm not what I would call a travel photographer. I'm traveling to, I mean, you're looking at behind me, Namibia, Oh, by the way, did you see that comment on our last I posted the welcome home from Namibia, and Marty Ben, our buddy, Marty, he actually wrote out very clearly how you pronounce Namibia. He gave you a beautiful phonetically correct guide. So go look at that comment and thank our good buddy
Yeah,
Marty.
that assumes that I would be able to remember that little phonetic
I'll send
guide.
you an email. I'll send you a
Okay,
reminder.
I'm going to try it again. Namibia.
Hey, you did it.
Did
That's
it?
the first
Okay.
time you've ever said
Namibia.
it right. Yeah.
Okay.
But so
Gotcha.
to me, this image behind me is a little more artistic than just kind of a snapshot of being in the Devley there. I'm trying.
Well, you're in a twofold position, John. You're on the one hand taking people to places, and so but on the other hand, you're doing personal work. The question becomes, what type of work do you do when you're doing personal work?
Yeah, more fine art, more categorized for that reason. And again, very truthfully, I think I've maybe created two fine art images in my lifetime that I think rise up to that level, in my opinion. Now, others might feel differently, and that's fine. But I think we tend to be our own worst critics, and I certainly am in that regard.
Well, our opinion of ourselves is the only one that should matter.
Right.
And now the question becomes, once we've categorized ourselves into a travel photographer or a vacation photographer, what's the implications of that?
Yeah.
Does that mean you don't need to have vision? Does that mean, I don't know, what are the implications?
Yeah, good idea. So let's say you're a wildlife photographer. Let's just pick one. And there are brilliant wildlife and or even subset of that, bird photographers. Should that bird
Birds.
photographer, should that wildlife photographer still have a vision? Well, I think we can answer that easily because you and I feel very passionately. Everybody has a vision. Everybody does. And I would say it's useful to get in touch with that vision, and it will help anybody's work, regardless of
Sure.
what type of photography you're doing.
Now, my vision allows me to drastically change the image. And in some genres of photography, that wouldn't be acceptable. If you were a street photographer or a photojournalist
Yeah.
documenting, you're really not able to modify the image to your reality. It needs to, you really are trying to depict reality.
Well, I don't know, Cole. I don't know if I agree with that, because when I see street photography, number one, they've altered reality by making it black and white. It's not color typically.
It's true.
Number two, why can't you still use post-processing techniques to darken and lighten? And they do. So I think, but now maybe in wildlife, although no, I disagree there too, because I just had pictures of a lion and there's all sorts of brush in front of that, but it was a great shot of a lion yawning, and I had to remove that brush. Now, if that was a competition, I would be, thrown out and never allowed to come back in again because I've modified that image, right? It should
Well,
be.
certainly photojournalism, I think if anything's going to be published in time,
That one is true.
yeah,
That one is
yeah.
true, because I've actually heard of a story where people are throwing in teddy bears into a war-torn scene, and that is changing the reality of what happened because no children were killed in that scene, but they wanted to imply that children were. So
Yeah.
if that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about, yeah, that's not good. Okay, well, so the question today then for our viewers as they get ready to ring that bell and subscribe, that was pretty good one. That was a nice little, okay. Is, what kind of a photographer are you? And what are the implications of figuring out what kind of photographer you are? And based on last week's question, which is why do you photograph? Maybe you're stuck in a rut of being a bird photographer and you want to be a wildlife photographer in addition. Well, go do it. Seriously, just go get busy about doing something else once you answer that question of why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay. Good.
All right, bud. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Soon.
Very soon.
Very.